Hi friends, I am Professor Dr. Mahul Brahma. I am a Professor and Dean, School of Media and Communication at Adamas University, and I am a Fellow at Bhatspa University, UK. Today in my lecture series I will be talking about crisis communication. So, to understand crisis communication, we have to understand how communication has changed in the pre and post digital era. In the pre-digital era, whenever there was a crisis, then the company would take its time to draft a press release, and after 24 hours or so, call select media and share that press release in a press conference. Post the digital era, where everybody is with a smartphone, everybody can tweet, everybody can tag. In that era, such handling of crisis through communication is not possible anymore. Then you are too late to act. I will talk about, to illustrate my point, I will talk about a song, and that song is called United Breaks Guitars. So there's this gentleman called Dave Carroll, who's a singer. His Taylor guitar was broken by United Airlines, and in spite of several complaints and all that, United Airlines didn't pay any heed to that. And so Dave thought that why not write a song, and so he wrote a song and put it on YouTube on how United broke his guitar. A very simple theme, a very simple narrative of exactly what had happened, and that song went viral, and that song resulted in a crisis for United Airlines. It reached millions, and people stopped using United Airlines. They came back to Dave, apologized, offered a compensation. The Taylor brothers, who makes Taylor guitars, gifted Dave a guitar. So we don't know from which quarter and from which tweet or from which YouTube song a crisis will come. So if you're late, then you're too late. In today's world, you will be eliminated. So corporates have to be careful in being sensitive at every channel, at every avenue of social media. You know, be it on Twitter, be it on Facebook, be it on Instagram, be it on YouTube. You have to have a patient hearing and a very responsive approach towards what is being generated there. And that's how a lot of crises can be averted. Most of the crisis happens because there is a deniability from the corporate and from non-responsiveness. I remember Tony Fernandez, who was the CEO of AirAsia at that point of time. There was a plane crash and many people lost their lives. But Tony did not wait for a press release. He did not wait for the politically correct thing to do. He started tweeting, he started responding to the tweets of the near and dear ones of the people who have lost their lives. And there was a huge empathy that he demonstrated. You know, the tweets were grammatically wrong, the tweets had wrong spellings, but he didn't care. For him, communication and reaching out was the most important thing, and that worked wonders. I mean, it is a case that we crisis communicators use very often. It's a fantastic case of how you can turn a crisis into a brand building exercise. So the nature of crisis has changed, and therefore the nature of response. So if a crisis is generated in YouTube, you have to respond it on YouTube. If it's generated via Twitter, you have to respond there. So one thumb rule of crisis communication is that you have to always respond to a crisis where it is generated. I have been working with the Tata Group prior to my Adamas stint, leading crisis communications in the organization where I was heading the communication. And so therefore, I have seen a hands-on way of how this is done and mitigated and managed, and it is a regular job. On day-to-day basis, organizations which are especially a B2C space, they have to mitigate such crisis so that the crisis does not snowball into something that you can't manage on your own. So keeping an ear, be a listener to your customer's voice is very important. And empathy plays a critical role in managing crisis, in communicating crisis. So empathy of the leader, sensitivity of the leader towards that crisis makes a lot of difference. So crisis communication, the nature of crisis communication, post-digital era is very different. And it has to be handled in the source where it is generated, not in a separate medium. And gone are the times where you can wait for 24 hours and call limited number of editors and all that. Today, everybody is an editor, everybody is a journalist. Every citizen who has a mobile phone, a smartphone, is a journalist. And that has the potential to ruin your reputation. Reputation management has a critical role to play in the day-to-day functioning of the organization, in the day-to-day handling of the organization of its customers. And online is very powerful. It is a beast, it is a monster, it is extremely powerful. So it cannot be ignored. If you are present in an online platform, you have to be responsive. You have to respond to that customer who has not got delivery in the stipulated time. You have to respond to the customer who has been harassed by one of your employees, who has not been treated well by one of your employees. Because the point of contact, the discipline at the point of contact is extremely important. So basically the exposure that has its challenges, because crisis can generate from anywhere. But at the same time, the exposure has its advantages. That when you're doing something right, that news is also being spread in a very, very fast pace. So managing crisis has become a real-time exercise in the digital era. Thank you.